Bryan Ewald here, and we're going to check out the Barber Electronics Direct Drive, the compact Direct Drive, the newer one. What I have here, one of the older Direct Drive SS Super Sport, I believe that stood for. I've used that drive on my board for quite some time. The original Direct Drive came out as a very vintage, British-inspired, very martially articulate, very amp-like, cleans up great with the volume knob. Lots of low end, but it's very clear, punchy low end. Doesn't get muddy or tubby. And, you go in from really bright, kind of searing tones if you want, to the real creamy, milky kind of woman tones. A lot of range. The old ones sounded great, had a lot of tonal options. This new compact Direct Drive with a little mini toggles gives you kind of the best of all of them. A lot of players really like the tonality of the drive, and I tend to run I used to run this one barely ever past 50% of gain, occasionally, but I lived more here and sometimes brought it way down. Dave had a lot of players asking for a low gain version of it, which he came out with. Again, it can be found in this box. So we've got two-way mini toggles on the box. We've got a gain switch. This goes from the low gain to a high gain version of the Direct Drive. Low gain is to the right, high gain is inward or to the left. And on this side, we have a harmonic switch from a low harmonics to high harmonics. The low harmonics is a little tighter and punchier. And, it's great for like some of the AC/DC kind of stuff. But really just retains that punchier low end. And the higher harmonics really start to come alive and bloom a lot more. Just different voices, And the tone control works a little different than it does on the gain changer or some of the other Barber pedals, where a lot of the pedals are interactive tone control that cut lows as you turn it up while increasing highs and vice versa. This is more of a traditional high cut. So I run mine anywhere between 2 and 3 o'clock, depending on the guitar and which amp I'm running into. But you can dial it in to suit your taste. Even if you crank it way up or roll it way back, it's very usable all across the sweep. It never gets harsh or brittle. A lot of sounds in here. Just like with all of Dave's pedals, Dave and Ronnie, it's a small operation. They're all hand built, super high quality stuff, and still really, really affordable, considering the fact that it's a small boutique, high quality pedal. Real honest solder lug on the jacks, true bypass, high quality switches. There's a really nice. You got a lot of clearance here between the knobs and where your switch is, so you don't have to worry about accidentally kicking one of the knobs and changing your controls in the middle of a gig. Nice small footprint. So if you're looking for a super versatile British-inspired drive box, but with a lot of sounds from low gain to high gain, I definitely recommend the Direct Drive. Let's go through and listen. We'll mainly listen with some humbuckers, kind of vintage output, 50 style, PAF style humbuckers, because that's really where I think this pedal shines. Even though it sounds great with everything, we'll check it out closer to the end with a couple other guitars, Telly and a Strat and a few things. All right, so we're going to check out the Direct Drive. We'll start off with this PRS, obviously fairly traditional style, Les Paul style guitar here with some great sounding late 50s PAF style pickups. And of all things, we're going to still run this into a Deluxe Reverb, pretty unmartially in its basic tone. So if we can get pretty convincing British style Marshall sounds out of this, we can get even closer with other amps. Deluxe is running into a cabinet in the other room, and I've just got a single mic on it. It's a Cascade Fathead ribbon mic. Pretty simple setup. Go through and listen to some of the sounds on this guitar just to hear the different settings, but then I'm going to just play through a bunch of like familiar classic riffs and songs, and dialing the pedal in for that. I might do a little bit of tweaking on the amp, but otherwise it's all still the Deluxe Reverb. And I'll play it with Strat and Tele and a couple different guitars so you can hear it. The tones aren't going to be exact, but I'm not really going crazy and trying to mimic them exactly. I'm just trying to get in the ballpark. Probably not even playing the riffs exactly right, so there's that. But let's go through and have a listen to some of the basic settings. Right now I've got the direct drive. The volume and the gain are about at 12 o'clock. The tone control, which I said is a little different than the one on the gain changer. This is really just a high cut. So I think somewhere between 2 and 3 o'clock is a good starting place. I've got it about there right now, about 2:30. And this is on the low harmonics and the low gain setting. So here's the clean bypass tone. Nice, still kind of chimey and got a little bit of that British Marshall crunch. You can hear, I'll kick on the harmonics up to high. Breaks up a little earlier. It's a little looser sounding. The low harmonics is really good if you want the tight kind of sound. We'll go back to the low harmonics, and I'm going to push the gain up a bit. And this is still on the low gain side of it. And with the higher harmonics. See what it sounds like when we darken up the EQ. Really nice, warm, crunchy tones there. So now what I'll do is I'll go into the high gain side. Bring this, I'm going to roll the gain back down to 12 o'clock, bring the tone back up. Low harmonics, but high gain. Beautiful. I would crank the gain up on that, see what it's got. So that's on the low harmonics. So that's going to retain a little. It's going to stay a little tighter. I'm going to kick the harmonics up to high, and this is where it really starts going kind of nuts harmonically and really blooms. If I back off the gain just a little bit with that and go neck pickup and do roll the tone back on the guitar, you can really get that kind of woman tone out of it. So let's also hear what it sounds like on the high harmonics, but just bringing the gain back. So high gain, high harmonics, but I'm rolling the gain on the knob back a little bit. Still really thick and chewy. Now let's go through and just have a listen and some familiar riffs with a couple different guitars and see how close we can get to some of these tones without even changing out of the Deluxe.